I'm Captain Scott Larsen, Negotiating Committee Chairman of the FedEx Master Executive Council. At a recent joint council meeting, I was asked, what are we fighting for in these negotiations, and what has been achieved so far? Well, after 4 years of direct negotiations encompassing 2 years of interim talks and 27 months of Section 6 bargaining, we have tentatively agreed to language in 21 sections of the contract and the FDA LOA. Of these 21 sections, 8 sections were not opened by either party. 2 sections were opened by the company, but no changes were accepted. 3 sections contain minor changes. Everyone needs to understand that nothing is final until a full contract is reached. Here are some highlights of the TA'd sections. Section 5, traveling expenses. We've achieved industry-leading per diem rates. We have a modest expansion of catering parameters, and we've expanded the availability and use of hub sleep rooms. Fatigue Group will now oversee rest and break facilities. Section 6, relocation expenses. We've enhanced air travel benefits during relocation. We've increased the FDA weight allowances for Section 6 moves, and we've added domestic partner benefits. In Section 8, deadheading, we've established a jointly developed, approved deadhead carrier list. We've expanded to higher classes service requirements internationally down to 2.5 hours. We've established a rolling deviation bank where no longer will you save the company $5,000 in one month and write them a check for $50 in the following month. We also now have the ability to join a scheduled deadhead mid-trip and undeviate, keeping intact all of the protections and ground transportation that exists. We've created a new deadhead fare system designed to eliminate the unrealistic accepted fares which we experience today. We've expanded front-end deviation check-in, and we've enhanced those deviation check-in procedures. We've established a hotel cancellation bank, and we've limited deviation deadhead ticketing fees. In Section 9, miscellaneous flying, we have a new override system for TAAs and FPS pilots. We now have a mechanism for providing humanitarian publicity flights to our pilots. And we've codified the QA observation program and the PIC authority that must exist in that program. In Section 13, leaves of absence, we've updated language on returning crew positions following a leave of absence with the new Section 24 provisions. We've modified language dealing with military leaves of absence, and we will now follow the federal law provisions. We've removed old FMLA type leave since FMLA now covers pilots. In Section 15, medical standards, for our pilots returning from an LTD, they now have the ability to be reimbursed for medical exams that are required in order to qualify for their FAA medical certificate. Section 24, filling of vacancies. We have new system bidding procedures that will provide better transparency of the company's staffing requirements and goals. New bidding for ITU procedures that will be based on seniority and done monthly. In Section 26, general, we've increased the annual uniform allowance for the first time in contractual history. We've expanded no harm, no foul jump seats to all bases. We've improved new aircraft acquisition language, and known crew member is now contractually required. In the FDA LOA, we have a new housing allowance index which will better reflect the volatile housing market that exists in Hong Kong. We've also lowered the trigger for housing allowances in both Cologne and in Hong Kong. We've increased the home ownership allowance, and we've expanded household goods storage ability. We've enhanced air travel benefits during relocation and annual return travel, and we've increased shipping weight allowances. The company now is going to be required to relocate pilots who are terminated or retire while they're in the FDA. We've expanded ground transportation allowance when relocating, and we have vastly increased the educational benefits for our FDA families. Those are some of the highlights of what's been achieved so far. This week marks the 6th mediation session encompassing 21 days of direct bargaining since January. Negotiations have reached a critical intersection. Like the last session, very significant items are on the agenda. Management will be countering our proposals concerning work rules and insurance benefits, and we are countering with our training proposal. Compensation still hasn't made its way to the table, but it's time it does. We made a couple things very clear to management in our last session, and I'll repeat them here. For work rules, the current system needs to be maintained, but made fair through tighter rules, more transparency, and common sense flexibility. We need to be compensated when the demands of our system legitimately disrupt our schedules and our lives. The schedules themselves need to be healthier and safer as determined from a science-based point of view. Finally, the secondary line system needs to be fixed, but not at the expense of regular lines. Insurance benefits. You know, there's a link between how hard we work and the insurance that we need to have. We realize that the cost of health care and the Affordable Care Act present challenges, but we know that solutions, which do not compromise our insurance benefits, exist. The continued existence of the buy-up plan is essential. Note, I didn't say a buy-up plan or any buy-up plan. Our buy-up plan must continue, and we will not permit the ACA to be a backdoor to concessions. When the insurance benefit package is done, it needs to be a top-of-the-shelf product, affordable, flexible, and varied to the needs of our crew force, and updated to meet today's and tomorrow's challenges. In retirement, no freeze of the A plan and reasonable adjustments to account for the growing gap between our compensation and our retirement. It's so simple. You know, it also happens to cost money. And to quote our MEC chairman, no apologies. The point of my overview is this. In key sections, management has been pursuing a barren path, a path that leads to conflict, failure, and great negativity. That's a path no one wants. The issues have become so few that further movement on this path meets with the commonly heard definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. We're ready to close this deal. Management needs to get on the right path and use its resources to meet us with an acceptable solution. Again, on behalf of my team, I thank you for your outstanding support. Stay informed and stay engaged.